but the name is 1971. The effective date of the act is from 1970. And before the enactment of this NERA, or Northeastern Area Reorganization Act 1971, there were only 2 states in Northeast. As we know, Assam is the parent state of Northeast India, because most of the states of Northeast at present, they were previously districts of Assam, except in Manipur and Tripura, which were princely states. Though Manipur and Tripura were also princely states, they were more or less governed by the Chief Commissioner of Assam. Because of that, Manipur and Tripura also more or less they were like part of Assam. And Assam and Nagaland were the only states before the enactment of this Northeastern Area Reorganization Act 1971. And this Northeastern Area Reorganization Act 1971 created 3 new states: Manipur, Tripura, Meghalaya, and 2 new union territories, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram. Earlier, the whole territory was known as Assam. Outside was also known as Assam. So the term Northeast began to be used officially with this enactment of NERA. But even now, when we travel to the mainland India, they don't know other states of Northeast India. They only know Assam. My practical experience, when I visited tribal bale of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh in 2011, when they asked me, "Kahan se aaya hai?" Mizoram se aaya hai. "Kahan hai Mizoram?" They didn't know. Either Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland. But when I told them, Assam se aaya hai, oh, Assam to baat. So that was the concept till today. Other northeastern states were not known at all. So the whole region to common hope is still known as Assam. And as we know, Assam, it was a British created province. How? Because in Assam earlier, in pre-British period, there was Kasari Kingdom, then Ahom Kingdom, then there was Bodo Kingdom, and Manipur Valley there was one kingdom, then in Tripura. And the tribal bells, all the tribal bells, they were independent in their own way. They were not disturbed, all the tribal territories. So that was the situation during pre-British period, before the coming of the British. And with regard to this northeastern part of the country, the British East India Company came so close to this territory with the acquirement of Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, so to say, called the revenue, in 1765 by Robert Clive from Shah Alam II Mughal Emperor. Then, after that, they came so close, and the first territory which the British annexed in this region was Garo Hills in 1822. And other territories were acquired only after the signing of Treaty of Yandago on 24th February 1826, with the end of First Anglo-Burmese War by the British and the Burmese. So these tribal territories, they were annexed one after another, and they were demarcated in the province of Assam. So the province of Assam came up. To speak the truth, these territories, before the coming of the British, they were neither part of India, neither part of Assam. They were independent in their own way. But after the coming of the British, they were attacked in the province of Assam. So, as Professor Dayarnath had already strayed on the historical path, I'll try to skip that. And when the British came into contact with these tribal people, they knew that these tribal people who settled in the hill territories, they had peculiar custom, culture, tradition, which was different from the plain Hindus and the Muslims. The same rules and regulations which were used for governing the Hindus and the Muslims of the plain could not be utilized, could not be enforced in the hill areas. And as a result of that, British enforced some exclusive laws, exclusively for governing tribal territories in eastern Bengal and Assam, such as Regulation 10 of 1822, Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873, Scheduled District Act of 1874, Garo Hills Act of 1869, Chin Hills Regulation 1874, then Chin Hills Regulation 1896, certain clause of the Government of India Act of 1919 and certain clause of the Government of India Act of 1935. And at the time when India was about to be independent, so there was fear psychosis in the minds of tribals in the hill territory. And during that time, there was one prominent Khasi politician, Reverend J.J.M. Nichols Roy, who was cabinet minister in Assam under Gopinath Bhatt. And this Reverend J.J.M. Nichols Roy, when the team of British cabinet mission, three British cabinet ministers comprising Sir Stephen Prof, Patrick Lawrence, and Eddie Alexander, they came and they studied the situation in India. And to that team, Reverend J.J.M. Nichols Roy submitted one memorandum. You Britishers came, you colonized us, particularly these tribals in hill territories. And you made us part of Assam. Now you will be leading us. Will you leave us in such situations so that we would be exploited by the majority plain Hindus and Muslims? Or will you create some constitutional safeguards through which we will be able to govern ourselves? Then the cabinet mission team was awakened by this strong memorandum of Reverend J.J. Nichols Roy. And before leaving for London, Sir Stafford Cripps held a press conference and he gave strong suggestion to Constituent Assembly of India to create one committee, advisory committee. And as a result of that advisory committee, the constitutional for safeguard for the tribal came into being after independence, which we now known as 6th schedule to the Constitution of India, that is in Article 244 Clause 2 and 275 Clause 1 of the Constitution of India. So, after independence, this 6th schedule was granted for tribals of Assam. Actually, this 6th schedule was meant for hill tribes. And in this 6th schedule, tribals were classified into two, Part A and Part B. In the Government of India Act of 1935, tribals were classified into two parts, excluded and partially excluded areas. A bit developed tribal areas like Garo Hills, Khasi Jantia Hills, and Nikir Hills, they were classified as partially excluded areas. That means they were partially excluded from reform and normal administration. And those partially excluded areas, they could send representatives to some legislative assembly. But some tribal areas which were totally backward at that time, comprising Lusai Hills, Naga Hills, North Kachar Hills, Northeast Frontier Tracts, later on Nepal, and later on Arunachal Pradesh. They were classified as excluded area, which was excluded from any type of reform and normal administration. So these excluded and partially excluded in the concept of Government of India Act of 1935 was continued in the form of Part A and Part B after independence. That means those tribal areas under 6th schedule, under Part A, they were facilitated with self-government, autonomous district council, like Garo Hills, Khasi Jantia Hills, Naga Hills, then Lusai Hills, North Kachar Hills, and Nikir. And during that time, the present Twensan region, or the region which demand Eastern Nagaland state, which was at that time known as Twensan area or Naga tribal area. This and the present Arunachal Pradesh, which was at that time known as Northeast Frontier Tract on Nepal, they were classified into Part B of 6th schedule. That means they were under 6th schedule, but they didn't have self-government. And this sixth schedule was used as governance and for delivering socio-economic development work by government of India constitutionally. And this sixth schedule also has now been amended 10 times. And Nepal and Naga Hills and Naga tribal area, which were earlier under sixth schedule, they were already deleted from sixth schedule. And now sixth schedule continue in all tribal areas in four states: Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and Tripura. And at present, under sixth schedule, as we know, there are one territorial council, two autonomous councils from Assam, three autonomous district councils from Mizoram, three autonomous district councils from Meghalaya, and one autonomous district council from Tripura. And with regard to this sixth schedule, actually, it is meant for hill tribes. But as a result of long demand of the All Bodo Students Union, so sixth schedule is extended for Bodo tribe, and with that, Pandara box is open. And as a result of that, now many plain tribes of Assam and who have satellite autonomous council and satellite development council also now demanding. And whatever it is, this sixth schedule provision to the Constitution of India has been one of the machinery used by government of India and different state governments for solving and for plating certain political issues. It is also one of the important source of governance. And we know, and I already mentioned about NERA, Northeastern Area Reorganization Act 1971. I will not deal more into it. This Northeastern Area Reorganization Act also changed the shape of Northeast along. And in the original, this NERA, only 5 states and 2 union territories were included. But with the inclusion of Sikkim in the Northeastern Council since 2002, now it is counted as Northeast as 8 states. And we know government of India has been changing its policy from time to time. And after the disintegration of Soviet Union was no longer there, so India had to change its foreign policy. And as a result of that, India could no longer look towards Soviet or any external or any other help. So India was compelled to look towards the east, to look towards the Southeast Asian countries. And as a result of that, this look east policy as foreign policy came into being since the Prime Ministership of P.D. Narasimha Rao. And as a result of that, Prime Minister after him pursued this policy. In fact, this look east policy has been a product of globalization, privatization, and post-Cold War phenomena, to meet the post-Cold War phenomena. And after the coming of this NDA-2 government led by Narendra Modi, the name look east has been changed into Act East policy. But is changing of look east to Act East really bring action to the border area or not? That is a question, an issue we should address and which should be academically stressed also. And concerning Northeast, another form of governance and another form of delivering socio-economic development work which government of India has utilized is NEC, Northeastern Council, and Development of Northeastern Region Department. We know Northeastern Council came into being from 1971 with the enactment of Northeastern Council Act by Indian Parliament. And the role of this NEC is to coordinate socio-economic development work in the region. And since the Prime Ministership of H.D. Deve Gowda, when Deve Gowda became the Prime Minister, he was an unknown face in Indian politics, really local leader. So many people, and by background also, he was just a diploma in engineering. who was so prominent in local politics in Karnataka, but he is unknown in national politics. But immediately he became the prime minister, and many people laughed at him. But he did very remarkable work for northeastern states, because the moment he became prime minister in 1996, he announced rupees 600 lakh northeast special package. Then after that, that rupees 600 lakh northeast special package was continued by prime minister after him. And one thing I praise about the Indian government is that the good thing which was started by one party, that will be followed by the succeeding parties. But not like our northeastern states. In many of our northeastern states, if some policy was started by the earlier ruling party, the next ruling party will hardly contribute. This is the situation. But in center, whatever Deva Gowda started, it was followed by the Congress, then by the BJP, and that led to the formation of donor department. And after that, donor is now a full-fledged ministry. And this donor focused on economic development of Northeast India. And at present, even NEC is also now one of the department, the group which is being looked after by donor. So with regard to this NEC and donor, they are one of the main agency used by the Union government for bringing socio-economic development in the region. Okay, I'll now move to the last point. What issues are we facing now in Northeast? There are certain critical political issues which are facing that academicians should analyze it academically, critically, without any political meaning. Like issue of uniform civil code, issue of free movement regime, issue of border fencing, issue of Forest Conservation Amendment Act 2023. These are the main political issues the Northeasterners are facing now. Then what is uniform civil code? That is laid down in Directive Principles of States Policy in Article 44. But India, as we know, it is a subcontinent with diverse culture, diverse religion, diverse nationality, diverse ethnic group, and many aspects of diversity. So, but due to that, this Uniform Civil Code, though it is laid down in Directive Principles of States Policy in Article 44, it has not been touched, and now it is one of the issues. And how Indian Constitution is established, how Indian political system came into being from unity and diversity. Last month, I addressed Keynote in William Carey University in Shillong. Then I mentioned here, the only way through which India can reach Dixit Bharat in 2047 is only through unity and diversity. Because if unity and diversity is maintained, there are peace and tranquilities between different communities, different religious groups, different ethnic groups. Then there will be good law and order situation. But even if a lot of infrastructure and development work has been done, in case if communal right is here, all those could be destroyed within a night. Because of that, the only way for India to reach Dixit Bharat is with unity and diversity. So, in that regard, this Uniform Civil Code, it is an ongoing issue. So we have to further deliberate on that. Then, free movement regime and border fencing. As we know, earlier there was no national boundary, there was no international boundary. The British came, they colonized us, they demarcated the boundary, not on the basis of historical facts and historical reports, but on the basis of colonial sentiments. And because of that, we now end up with border issue in Northeast India. There is border tension between Assam and Mizoram, Assam and Nagaland, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, then Assam and Meghalaya. And there is some tension between Nagaland and Manipur. All these are colonial legacy. And due to that, and with regard to that, like many ethnic groups, they are now divided into international boundaries. But earlier they were not divided by international boundaries. Because many tribes of Arunachal Pradesh also, they are divided into India, Burma, and China. Then Garos, Khasis, and Jantias, they are divided into India and Bangladesh. Then Naga tribes also, they are divided into India and Burma. And like Jin Kuki Mizo group, also ethnic group, they are divided into India, Burma, and Bangladesh. In such a way, as they are people from the same ethnic group, occupying large stretch of land, and due to that, this free movement regime was open for them. And due to that, border was not fenced, because traditionally they were not divided by borders. But now, this free movement regime and border fencing also came up. And the last is Forest Conservation Amendment Act 2023. But this Forest Conservation Amendment Act, it was first enacted in 1980. Then after that, amendment was done in 1988. Then amendment was done again in 2023. And as part of this act, central government can set up, can destroy forests, and can set up any establishment in any place which is within 100 kilometers from international boundary. So if that is the case, what will be the reaction? Because of that, many indigenous groups and many ethnic groups who are affected by these are now against this. So these are some of the issues which we have been facing now. So Northeast, yes, we know. What was the situation in the past? What is the situation at present? And what will be our future? Because of that, all these should be academically deliberated, critically, and out of this, good solution should be brought up. And in that regard, we all, you and me, we have duty in that regard. So Northeast, as we know, it is a unique part of India. And one of my senior professors from Odisha, he said, there is no periphery, all are mainland. But I told him, sir, Northeast, mainland is mainland, and there is very much periphery that we cannot justify. Because we cannot say black is white and white is black. And there are certain characteristics which we have to recognize and which we have to accept each other. As I said, Indian political system starts with unity and diversity, and it will also survive with unity and diversity. If unity and diversity is not progressed properly, then there may be disturbance in that regard. So, in order that Northeast should be very much constructive part of India, this unity and diversity should also be properly emphasized. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much to the keynote speaker, Professor Jangkhongam Doungel from Mizoram University. So we are very much grateful